Hello, and welcome back to Invitation to Puzzles, where today I have a killer puzzle for you. I've been making some 1 and 2 star puzzles of various sorts. So today's is a killer. So the rules of killer, uh, and this is sort of very important because it is oft misremembered. You have to make the digits in the cage sum to the total. So these 5 digits have to sum to 29. But there can be no repeats within the cage, and that's the part that often gets forgotten. So, for example, I cannot make this 5526. Okay, and you'll notice the software will yell at you if you try to do this, unless you have a conflict checker disabled. But that means there aren't that many possible combinations for some of these. Now, in fact, there is a helper tool. You have to go under advanced settings to find it. Not experimental, advanced. There's a killer calculator. If you turn that on, it will show you all of the possibilities. So, for example, this is all the ways that one can sum to 22. So you may want to use that. I think it is fair to say you don't have to use that, but you may want to if you are so involved or so inclined. All right. There's a link in the description if you'd like to try the puzzle, and let's do our best. So, one way to start a killer puzzle is to sort of mouse around and see how many options there are for things, and frequently, if you're lucky, you'll find that if you mouse around enough, and if it's one of my puzzles, you'll probably find it in box 1, you'll find a cell or a cage that is forced. So in other words, a 3-cell 6 cage, and you can also just do this in your head if you want. 1, 2, 3 is the minimum I can make 3-digit sum to, which is 6. So this just has to be 1, 2, 3. It has no other choices. And now importantly, that tells me no other cell in this box can be 1, 2, or 3. So in other words, these remaining cells are all from 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, if you want. I won't actually leave that there. But that might radically impact what you can say about a cage. So, for example, this 12 cage, you see there's these 2 sort of options. And now there's a couple ways you could look at this, but here's one of them. All the options have a 1 and a 2 in them. And those 1 and the 2 can't go over here. So these have to be a 1, 2. Okay. Here's another way to look at it. The minimum possible sum of these 2 cells is 4, 5. That's 9. The minimum possible of these is 1, 2. And that's already 12, which is, of course, the maximum and indeed what it has to sum to. So there's 2 basic ways that you can get at that this has to be a 4, 5 with a 1, 2. It's the only option available to you because this cage pushed up this total so radically. Now, if we want to check if we understand this, we can now say what happens with this cage, which if you look at the killer calculator, looks like a horrendous mess. But in fact, actually, the minimum that these 2 cells can sum to is, if they're 6 and 7, which is 13, plus then the minimum of these is 1 and 2, and that is 16. So this also has to be minimized. So we get our 6, 7, 1, 2. And just for tidiness, I'm going to note that that gives us a 1, 2, 3 triple in this column, where the 3 is up in box 1, so that cell's never a 3. And the only digits we haven't placed in this box yet, at least roughly, are 8 and 9. So these are an 8 and a 9. Okay. So what are we to do with our lives now? Well, what you might notice is that I have these 2 18 cages here, and these cells can't be 1 or 2 because of the row pair. These two cells can't, or these 4 cells, I suppose, can't be 1 or 2 because of the box. So these are each an 18 cage that doesn't contain a 1 or a 2. Now, again, you can use the cage checker if you want, and you can see that that immediately tells you that it's 3, 4, 5, 6. Or you can minimize it and say, okay, if there's going to be no 1 or 2 in this, the minimum it can possibly be is 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, wait, that is 18. Either way you want to go about it, this actually gets us just a giant pile of 3, 4, 5, 6 quadruples. Because that logic applies equally well to both of these 18 cages. Okay, now if you squint at this box now, that's a 1, 2 pair, a 3, 4, 5, 6 quadruple. So these have to be a 7, 8, 9 triple in order to make this work. These are also, because of the row, in the same fashion, this is a 1, 2 pair and a 3, 4, 5, 6 quadruple. So these are the remaining digits. Those are 7, 8, 9. Now, if you squint at this 26 cage, you don't even really have to look at the calculator at all. You can actually just see that, remember, all the digits in a killer cage are different. So that means these are a 7, an 8, and a 9. Those sum to 24. I need to make the whole cage sum to 26, so I need 2 more, so that's a 2. Okay, and that's going to unravel some of my 1, 2s that I have floating around there, like that. Okay, so this is not a 2. Okay. Now, anytime you place a digit, you should ask yourself, what does that do to the sort of nearby cities? In this case, it is this cage that it hits, because now I can't put a 2 in these cells. And so now the minimum sum of these cells is 1, 3, 4, which is 8. And the minimum of this is 7, and 8 plus 7 is 15. If you eyeball this, you can kind of guess how this puzzle was constructed, because we keep finding a cage over and over again that exactly meets sort of the minimum it can be. So this is 1, 3, 4 with a 7, which makes those 8, 9. And remember that 8, 9 pair is in this cage, so that makes that a 7, like that. Okay. I actually know from this quadruple that one of these two is a 3, and I didn't mark it because I didn't think it was going to be useful, but it is going to be useful because that 3 looks over and tells me those aren't a 3, so that is. And now these are a 1, 4 pair that look backwards at this, making that a 5 and a 4, meaning there's a 5 down here. This is not a 4 or a 5. It is happily telling me. Let's see, this row, we now know, roughly speaking, what happens. We get a 5 and a 6 are the unspoken 4 digits. Let's see. This 1, 4, I didn't actually do this. This 1, 4 pair actually looks across here, making these a 3, 6. Meaning that these are a 4, 5. But it's also worth noting that's also a 3, 6 pair within this cage, so this can't be a 3 or a 6. It is a 4, 5. I can't quite do the same thing here, but I can notice this 3, 6 pair looks across here, making that a 7 and a 6. And I can look across this row and see that this is the other 8, 9. Because I've got a 1, 4, a 3, 6, a 2, 5, and 7. So the remaining digits are an 8, 9 pair. Like that. Okay, and so these digits, if you look at it, what is left, we've got the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So these are 7, 8, and 9. Except I've just told you this is an 8, 9 pair in this column. So that is a 7. Giving us this 7, 8, 9 business. And now that we've Sudoku'd this hard enough, we now actually know a lot about this 18 cage, because the minimum these two can sum to is now 15, 7 plus 8. And so that means these two need to be a 1-2 pair, because 7 plus 8 is 15. The most I could, or sorry, the absolute minimum I can make the whole cage sum to is 7, 8, 1, 2, which is in fact 18. So that's an 8 and a 9, and an 8 and a 9, and an 8 and a 9. Okay. Now I see I've got two sets of 1-2s, so that's doing some Sudoku stuff on 1s and 2s. Namely, it's telling me that I need to put 1 and 2 in box 5, and those 1 and 2s, they both land down here. Okay. That would normally probably not be so relevant, but it's actually quite relevant here because I need to make this cage sum to 20. And what we've just learned is that one of the digits in it is 1, and one of them is a 2. So I actually need the other two digits to sum to 17, which is quite a lot. And so, in fact, actually, the only way that I can fit the 1 and the 2 in this 20 cage is to make this 1, 2, 8, 9. Okay, that's not the 8 or the 9. Okay, that's not a 1 or a 2 because of the row. So we can do that. Here's the thing I can do. 3 in this box by Sudoku goes over here. So this cage definitely has a 3 in it at the very least. I do see that 8 and 9 are both pushed down here in this column. Oh, does it have to do with this cage? Yeah, I bet it has to do with this cage. I wasn't paying attention to this. This cage can't have an 8 or a 9 in it. Because if it did have an 8 or a 9, well, there just isn't a place, because the 8 and the 9 in this box are here, and the 8 and the 9 are over here. So what's the most you can get to without an 8 or a 9? It would be 7654. What's 7654? It sounds like 22. So this indeed does have to be 76. Sorry, it indeed has to be 7654. And you can tell that we know where the 7 goes, owing to the software telling us. So these are from 3, 4, 5, 6 for sure. I can say now, if I look at this box, this is now told me that the 3 is up here. So that's actually going to get me some damage into these, because the 3 is over here. Which is going to tell me that that's a 6, and that's a 3, and that's a 6. So that is going to somewhat help. Oh, yeah. That's a 3, 4, 5 triple, so that's a 6. Speaking of things that might help. Yeah, we don't have a 6 there, so we have the 6 here. So those are a 4, 5 pair, which means that these are a 3, 6 pair. And so I now need these two digits to add to what's left over. So 3 plus 6 is 9. So I need these to add to 5. And remember, I can't repeat the 3. So there's 2 ways to make 5, which are 2, 3, and 1, 4. But I can't use the one that would use a second 3, because that would be 2 3s in the cage. So this is 3, 6, 1, 4. Which will give me the 2 and the 1 up there. Give me the 4 and the 1 up there. Although I guess the 4, 5 pair already did that if I was paying attention. Oh yeah, these are, if I just look at the column, these are 6, 8, 9 is what's left in the column. Let's see. Now, just to show off some of this this feature, if you have not played with this at all, you can mark that this is a 24 cage. There's a lot of options, except we know it doesn't have a 1 in it. So you can actually just double click the 1 and it will strike through all the options that involve a 1. And in so doing, it will tell you, oh, look, this thing has to have a 2, is what this is really now telling us. Or if you want, you could even say, okay, it doesn't have a 1 and it doesn't have a 4. And that actually uniquely tells you what this cage has to be. It has to be 2, 3, 5, 6, 8. Okay, so however you want to do this, you can also just ask, what is the minimum possible sum of this cage? And the minimum sum of this possible sum of this cage is 2, 3, 5, 6, 8. Sorry, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7 would be the minimum. So we got to do one more than that. But you can figure out all of this just by asking yourself, what's the minimum? So that's the 6, 8, because they can't be 9. These are the 2, 3, 5s. So that is a 9. That's not a 2, and that's a 7, just to finish off this box. Yeah, and I don't think we have anything over there. But what I do see is we've now got a 9 and a 5-cell 19 cage. And so it'll even sort of glow green if you actually have placed the digit and tell you, okay, well, that's a 9. So these need to be 1, 2, 3, 4, because they already sum to a minimum of 10. And that's, in fact, what they actually do sum to. So let's see. So that's a 1, 2, 3, 4 quadruple. Looking up at that. So that's a 5. Oops. Get rid of that. That's a 5. Because I need to place a 5 in the column, and I can't place it there. So that gives me a 4 and a 3 and a 5 and a 4. 3, 4. Okay, so now that's a 1, 2 pair in this column. So this isn't 1 or 2, giving me an 8, 9 pair. So this is a 1 or a 2 as well. For this. Okay, so I see that one of these is 9 by Sudoku. Okay, so just to sort of summarize, I know there's a 9 in it, so that rules out one thing. And I know there's no 1 in it, because I've got a 1 looking down here, I've got a 1, 2 looking down here, and I've got a 1, 2 looking down here, so there's no 1. The only cell that can possibly be a 2 is this one. But as far as I can tell presently, it could be a 2. Okay, what are these digits? Maybe I should just write them in. They're not 1, 2, 3. They could be 4, 5, not 6. And then they could be 7, 8, 9. Okay, so these aren't 4, 5. That's not a 7. We did just notice there's definitely a 9 in this cage down here, just by sort of corner marking it. And therefore, that can't be a 9, because it would repeat the 9 in the cage. I do know one of these is a 7. If we minimize these, the minimum's actually, if we minimize those, I should say, the minimum's actually pretty large, because we know there's a 9 in here. So these certainly sum to a minimum of 5, 6, 9, which is 20, plus that 7, which would be 22. By the way, it's 5, 6, because we've got the 1, 2, 3, 4 in the box already. So 5, 6, 9 is 20 plus 7. That means those digits already sum to a minimum of 27. So this cell can, in fact, only be a 1 or a 2, and it can't be a 1. So it has to be the 2. So that gives me a 1 and a 4 and a 1 and a 3, which is going to bounce around a little bit through those pencil marks that we have. Let's see, I can place the last 1 in the grid, I think, which is there. Maybe I should fill in this triple, huh? Because this column's almost done. That's probably a good idea. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so this is there's definitely a 5 in one of these two cells. This is definitely a 6, 8, or 9. Oh, okay. This cage, I can say a lot more about this cage, actually. I haven't really been keeping up to date. This cage definitely doesn't have a 3 in it anymore, because we already sort of marked those, and these are in a box with the 3. So we can update this. There's no 3. And there's no 4 either, because there's a 2, 4 pair over here. So this is 2, 5, 6, 7, 9 is the only thing that we could do. Okay, so there's no 8 in it, so therefore that's a 7. These aren't 8. 2, 5, 6, 7, 9. Okay, just repeating, and we know where the 5 is. The 5 has to go over there, making that an 8 and a 9 and an 8. No 7s there, no 5 there. This digit, if I look at it, or 5, this is a 7. Filling that in. I see that if I fill in these, or if I just ask myself where 6 goes in this row, it definitely goes there. And now what is this if I fill in this column also? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and this can only be the 3 out of all of those. So that's the 9, that's the 8. A 6 and an 8 gives me a 9 and a 6, gives me a 5 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 2. 6 and 3, 5 and 6. So one of these two is an 8. Let's see, what are these? And these are a pair. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay, so these are a 5, 9 pair. Which actually rules 5 out of these cells, because you can't repeat 5 in the cage, and there's definitely a 5 down here, so there's no 5 there, which makes that the 5 for the row. At the 4. Let's see, what are these? Hopefully these add up to the right number, because we didn't actually use that. 12 plus 14 is 26, yes, okay. 2, 3, 4... and 7 are these digits, and we know the order. That's the 4, that's the 7, so that's the 8, and that's the 4. The 9 and the 8, the 5 and the 9. Okay, in this row, we still need a 3 and a 5. There we go. Alrighty. So hopefully you enjoyed that and learned something. Leave a like and a comment down below if you enjoyed yourself, if you learned something, if you had fun with the puzzle. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you next time on Invitation to Puzzles.